Hi folks, welcome to our live stream. Hope everybody is doing well out there. We are talking about what's driving growth in the video surveillance market today. So yeah, thanks for joining me. Really appreciate it. Let's get started. Why not? So these are the topics we're going to cover today. And this is content from a new research report that we have published on the global video surveillance market. So just quickly, while we're waiting for anyone who wants to join, let's do a little bit of housekeeping. So if you want to make comments or you have specific questions, you can type them in the chat. So you can do that both on LinkedIn and YouTube if you want. And we'll go through any questions at the end. We're also recording the session, so you will be able to listen back to it and share it with colleagues. At some point also, I'll put this up on our website together with a copy of the slides as well. So you'll be able to use that as a resource. This is like free content that we're doing, but it's not free for us to produce. So if you do like it and you appreciate it, then please like the video and spread the word. If you want to help us out, share it with your colleagues. And yeah, finally, don't forget you can subscribe to us on our LinkedIn page or on YouTube, and both of those are a good way to stay in touch with what we're doing and new reports and notes that we write. So yeah, in terms of content, I'm going to go through a bit of an introduction and cover like what the scope of this research is about. Then talk a little bit about the evolution of the market and what growth we're seeing. Then a little bit about geopolitics. Okay, so a bit of a complicated subject, but I mean, it is actually becoming increasingly important for video surveillance. So we're just going to kind of cover that on a high level. Then some comments about drones as a new growth vector within video surveillance. And then finally, just some key takeaways about what we've covered. And then also just a little bit about what we're planning up to the end of this year. And then we can do a Q&A. And that will be the 30 minutes. So let's get started. So the research is an in-depth study, and it's an analysis of video surveillance, and specifically focuses on revenues generated by cameras, software, storage, and other related hardware devices. So it's also like a first of a two-part series we do covering physical security technology. Part 2, which covers access control systems, we're going to be publishing that in the next couple of weeks. So keep an eye out for that. For those of you that have an enterprise subscription, it is included in that. So you get that straight away. So yeah, just about the categorizations. So as you can see here, these are the kind of 4 core components of what we include in our market sizing. First, of course, video camera hardware, and specifically we cover video surveillance cameras, thermal cameras, and body-worn cameras. Then software and analytics, so including VMS and AI-enabled analytics, both on-premise and cloud-based. And of course, I should say this is all about professional, non-residential video surveillance system. And we keep this kind of core framework because it allows us to do consistent year-on-year comparison. As I said, as with sort of previous editions, it's focused on commercial, industrial, and public sector deployments. Residential applications are not included in the scope. And actually, this year we've included a new section, which you can see on the right, which is analyzing the use of drones and UAVs for surveillance purposes. So this is like an increasingly interesting growth segment, and we'll got a slide on it later, so we'll talk about it then. But what we've done in this scenario is we haven't included it in the overall market sizing. We've included it separately, and that enables us to continue comparison with previous years where we've sized the market. So we're comparing like with like. I should say as well, for those that are interested, I'm going to be posting a subscriber-only video shortly about our research methodology and market research in general. So I actually think that will be provide some good context for understanding, what it is we do and how market research fits into the bigger picture of, how you can improve your decision making at businesses. So yeah, I think it will provide some useful content. Useful context. Okay, let's talk a little bit about how the market is evolving. So, the primary purpose still and has been for a long time is security video surveillance as a reactive security tool. Cameras are recording footage for post-incident review. But this is evolving, right? And video surveillance is becoming more of a proactive intelligence tool. So this kind of traditional model of video surveillance centered on cameras with on-premise storage and software, that kind of era seems to be coming to an end. And we're seeing a market that is actually increasingly defined by software capabilities, analytics, and cloud services, and actually they're growing at twice the rate of traditional equipment sales, and by that's our estimate of analysis of the market. So these AI enabled cameras with edge processing capabilities, we're also seeing those increasingly taking or gaining market share. Still a low base, but growing fast. And therefore we're increasingly pushing intelligence to the edge. So these kind of analytics use cases around object detection, license plate recognition, even privacy preserving redaction. These can all now increasingly be done in real time at the edge. But let's be clear, video analytics isn't anything new, right? These companies have been supplying this kind of software for quite a while, and unfortunately, in some cases, overpromising what video analytics could do for several years. But I think, what our research, and this is the first analysis we've done in the market for 2 years, I think over that time, you definitely feel that there has been progress made here. And there is a market now that is increasingly comfortable with the capabilities that AI can deliver, what it can be used for and what it can't be used for. So let's take a look at the high-level numbers. Now, we're estimating that the global video surveillance revenues reached $33.8 billion in 2024. And we think by 2030 that figure could climb to almost 48 billion, which would represent a compound annual growth rate of about 6%. So that's the headline. But of course, as always, it doesn't tell the full story. If we look at then, you break that down into its component parts, there is some divergence. As I said, like traditional hardware, cameras, storage, recorders, that is growing more modestly, while software, analytics, cloud services are expanding at a higher rate. And we break that down further in the report. So I think this, absolutely matters for people making investment decisions. Total cost of ownership calculations now have to factor in things like recurring software subscriptions, analytics licenses. They're increasingly dominating lifetime costs. And I think interestingly, our research also shows that hardware life cycles are down from historically. We're talking more now, but somewhere between 5 and 7 years, at least for enterprise installations. So whilst CapEx, capital expenditure on cameras and hardware, might be becoming a smaller part of that like total cost of ownership calculation, hardware is actually being depreciated faster. So I said we'd talk a little bit about geopolitics. I think it is having an impact on the market. And it's moved from sort of, maybe 2, 3, 4 years ago, some background noise, to actually something that is shaping the market. So as I said, we did this 2 years ago, covered this market. So in that time, we've seen quite a transition from more where it was, let's say more sweeping policy decisions or declarations to actually now, serious kind of enforcement with market consequences. Now, I should note, of course, politics moves really fast these days, and analysis that we've done here is based up to September 2025, and it's a much more, or it's really evolving landscape. So bear that in mind. So as the first point says, the US has tightened FCC equipment bans. So it's making it, almost impossible for restricted vendors to re-enter through partnerships or rebranding. Also, semiconductor tariffs on Chinese imports are rising in 2025. And this NDAA section 5949 enforcement comes into effect in a couple of years, but it's going to prohibit UK government procurement from certain Chinese semiconductor companies. But I think what's distinguishing this period is the geographical spread. So for example, Canada is or has banned Hikvision operations entirely after a national security review. Also in India, there are now mandates about manufacturers submitting hardware, software and source code for government security testing. And even NATO and EU countries are adopting a trusted supplier framework for critical infrastructure. So the general kind of result of all of this is a bifurcated global market where the same product is sellable in one region but unsellable in another. And the knock-on effect of that is things like we're seeing Hikvision growth slow down. So they reported just 3.5% revenue growth in 2024, which is a significant slowdown from earlier years. Yeah, other suppliers, others that are NDAA compliant, like for example Hanwha Vision, are, or at least look like they're gaining more market share in Western markets. So we put together a little timeline of some of the of how the regulatory environment looks. This is on our website as well if you're interested in it. And I think it shows that it's not just theoretical policy discussions anymore. These are actually restrictions and enforcement mechanisms that are being implemented. What began with US procurement restrictions on, is now more about also semiconductor tariff increases, equipment authorization bans, and now explicit kind of prohibitions, which will come in a couple of years. And as I said, like these restrictions are no longer limited to the US. We're seeing actions in North America, Europe, and India and other allied nations. So, what does this mean for vendors? I think it means more compliance documentation, geographic market segmentation, and also potentially supply chain restructuring. What does it mean for buyers? If you're in critical infrastructure and government adjacent markets, it's going to mean procurement policies that now include end-to-end supply chain disclosure and country of origin verification for subcomponents, not just final assembly. And, I think realistically, this isn't going to reverse anytime soon. I think for the next few years, at least, we can expect this kind of bifurcation to remain one of the defining features of the video market. So I said we'd look a little bit about drones. I think this is one of the most intriguing things to come out of our research, certainly in terms of where there might be a new growth vector in the market. I think it could represent an area of significant expansion for video surveillance companies. So, we did some market sizing. We think that it's about $500 million. So it's small, but especially even within the kind of broader surveillance industry. But it's growing rapidly from a small base. I think the main driver is from high-value deployment. So where drones fix specific problems that fixed cameras can't address economically. And why now? Like, why is this happening? I think it's not the innovation of, let's say, better cameras or longer flight times. It's really about autonomy. It's creating these drone-in-a-box systems. So you're talking about including like a ruggedized kind of UAV within some sort of weather-proof docking station with some onboard analytics. And this can operate with minimum human intervention. And when you then start thinking about integrating it with alarm systems, that you can launch these drones, have automatically have them navigate specific flight paths and stream live video directly into existing video management systems or physical security PSIM platforms. So, then the value proposition becomes quite interesting, especially for certain properties. So, think, for example, logistics centers, solar farms, corporate campuses, universities. These are like wide areas that might not be, you might not want to cover them or they might require dozens of fixed cameras or continuous human patrols. So actually, drones become an economical option for patrolling those kind of environments. And indeed, there's evidence of significant ROI. There's one US security firm who said that they had a 60% reduction in guarding costs after deploying autonomous patrol drones. So, this isn't just talk. There is some reality to this. And I think finally what we're seeing also, VMS providers like Genetec, Milestone are now looking to support drone control and mission dispatch directly from security interfaces. So these kind of drone feeds can then be normalized with mainstream security workflows. So you can treat that kind of aerial camera stream. You can overlay analytics onto it, like event tagging, evidence archiving, and use that stream along with streams from your fixed cameras as well. So quite compelling. Okay, so some key takeaways. Number one, total cost of ownership is changing. Software analytics, cloud costs are going to increasingly dominate lifecycle expenses. So especially from the buyer perspective, you really have to think about that. I think in general as well, like we always say, like, think beyond security. We have perhaps, the industry has been focused very much on itself as being a tool to against crime and terrorism, and that absolutely is still true. But there is still a growing opportunity to use video analytics to deliver operational intelligence as well. And I know this is something the industry has been talking about for a long time, but I think it's becoming more relevant, and the technology is improving, and I think there are going to be more use cases where it can deliver on operational intelligence. And then finally, this kind of architectural shift. So we might be seeing an evolution away from just this static camera network, more towards mobile sensor systems with drone integration. And that could really be the future of what a modern video surveillance system looks like. Okay, so this is the report. It's available to buy and download if you're interested. You can scan that QR code, and you actually find out more about the report, and it'll give you a little bit more information about what's inside it as well. Also, if you're interested, we offer subscriptions, so you can take out an individual subscription. That's for you as an individual observer. So if you want to stay informed about what's happening in the smart building and security space as it relates to technology, then you can sign up for that. Or we also offer an enterprise subscription. So this is obviously for companies. If they want the right information to help them make the right decisions, then again, let me know about that. You can contact us, and we can start a discussion about it. We also offer advisory services. So if you're interested in some specific area, like, for example, market intelligence, if you want some market sizing, competitive landscape analysis in a specific area that's not covered in some of the reports that we do, then ask us about that. And also, if you're looking at some transaction, or if you're just generally look to do some target screening, we're happy to help with that. And finally, if you're developing AI services around, or if you're thinking internally about how you can improve your knowledge sharing systems, like our data is available via API. So we have a vector database with all of the information from our reports and our analysis, and you can access that by API. So you'll be able to directly put that into your own knowledge systems. Yeah, and I mentioned it right at the start, this is the video report that I just covered. That is the first in like a 2-part series of reports. The second is going to be on access control. That's what the cover is, and we'll be publishing that in the next couple of weeks. And yeah, well, hopefully in December we'll be doing a live stream covering the main topics from that report as well. Okay, so I'd just say really thanks for listening. As I said, we've recorded this, so if you want to share it with your colleague, you'll be able to find it on our website later. And yeah, if you liked what you heard, then please share it. So let me see if there are any questions. Give me 1 second. There's a comment here from Marcus saying, I've penned a few items from this presentation. Thank you very much. Let's see if there's anything on YouTube. Okay, 1 second. Okay, well, look, we've got a minute or so. If anyone has anything they wanted to add, feel free. Like in terms of what we're doing for the up until the end of the year, we, like I said, we'll be publishing that access report. We'll also continue to cover a lot of it's kind of like annual report season a little bit as well. So there's a lot of public companies who are publishing their financial results. So we cover a lot of that. You'll see this week we covered Johnson Controls. We also cover Acuity. We published something on them today. We'll continue to do that. And then next year, we're going to continue some of our coverage of innovation startups in the space. And we're also going to be doing a dedicated report on AI and what its impact is on smart building technology. So one comment here from Marcus. Slight addition, Chinese cameras dominate in UK schools. Okay, very interesting. Didn't actually appreciate that. So yeah, we'll look into that a little bit. But then another comment there just saying thank you, very helpful. Well, appreciate it, guys. Thanks for listening in. If you do have anything you wanted to ask, you can do that. You can send us an email, support@memory.com, or like if you're watching this on LinkedIn, you can just probably send a message through that as well. So yeah, thanks again. Look forward to doing this again next month. Bye for now.